Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have a bit of a different setup today. My background is different. I am standing, which I never do. I'm usually sitting for my videos, which now becomes really awkward because I don't know what to do with my hands. Usually I can just like put them on my lap, but anyways, I'll figure it out. So before I get started with this video, there's a couple things we're gonna ignore. First thing we're gonna ignore is my hair. I need to take out these box braids and redo them. They're messy. I know, I'm aware. So just leave that alone. The second thing that we're gonna ignore is my nails. I am well aware that my hands are two different colors. I know that we're in quarantine. Like, I figured, who cares? Because no one's really gonna see it besides you guys. So yeah, we're just gonna leave that alone as well. And the third thing is the same disclaimer that I will do in pretty much all of my videos, and that is if you hear my Great Dane crying or whining upstairs, she's not hurt, dying, or anything above. She's absolutely fine. She's just loud and dramatic. And here on this channel, we deal with it. So now that those three things are out of the way, if you would like to hear my tips for online learning. All right, so for today's video, first of all, before I even get into that, obviously there's a difference in lighting between right now and my intro. So let me know in the comments down below which setting of lighting you like better, if you like the warmer one from the intro or the cooler one right now. I like the one right now, so yeah. Anyways, for today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about my 10 tips for online learning, especially during the summertime. I know that with COVID, a lot of school schedules have been messed up and a lot of classes and stuff have been pushed to online. I personally really like online classes, and I figured I would just come on and share some tips with you guys, especially for online learning during the summertime, because that can be a little bit more tricky than online learning during your regular September, January semesters. Also, when you throw in the whole pandemic thing and the added stress from that, doing school right now can be really tough, and I totally understand that. So I wanted to share some tips with you guys that have helped me succeed with online classes in the past, and also tips that I'm implementing right now because I'm currently doing my summer semester online right now. Before I get into the tips, I have to disclaim I am not an academic counselor or anything like that. So if you're really struggling with online school or just school in general, you really should be talking to your guidance counselor or some sort of academic help provided through your school, or anything along those lines. These are just tips that have helped me in the past and that I want to share with you guys. So with that being said, tip is to treat your online classes and self-care as a flexible job. I'm lumping your schooling with your self-care together in this one because, especially during a pandemic, you need to be treating yourself fairly, and you need to be taking care of yourself and not just pouring all of your energy into your online classes because you're going to burn out. So that's why I say treat your self-care and your online classes as a very flexible part-time job. So that being said, something that I like to do, and I'll probably post an example of it somewhere, is every night before my classes the next day, I like to have like a very generic skeleton layout of what I want my day to look like. And that's not being specific at all, not with like your specific classes or anything like that. I just have blocked out what my first lecture is, when my second lecture is, when I want to have lunch, when I want to have dinner, and just have a whole layout for my day, but a very generic one. And I don't put any real titles in it right now. I just have study block, lecture, mealtime, relax, exercise time, stuff like that. So that way you at least have a general idea of how you want your day to go. And that way I find it's a lot easier to just kind of keep your day moving in a sort of flow, opposed to just waking up and kind of just like scrambling through your day, not really feeling like doing this, not really feeling like doing that. Have a general layout for how you want to see your day go. So my next tip is, depending on when your classes are, your weekend may vary. Obviously, you're not really gonna have classes Saturday, Sunday, but for me, I have classes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that gives me a 4-day weekend from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So what I like to do is, because I suck at mating, that's interesting. I suck at making study time, like what are those things called? They're called like study sheets, like where you lay out your subject and what you want to do for each subject. Yeah, I suck at doing those. I scrap that. I don't do that at all. I go to just, again, really simple, generic to-do lists, especially during the summertime, because you want to be making sure that you have time to go out and just kind of soak up the sun and do what you like to do for your self-care. So, but then you also have to be prioritizing your school. So what I like to do is make these really generic to-do lists with no more than 5 items, but 3 out of the 5 items have to have something to do with my online classes over the weekend. So that way I know I'm still prioritizing school, but I've not bogged myself down with this insane study to-do list or study guide or sheet or anything like that. It's just your simple, okay, when I wake up, I'm gonna do 2 hours of studying here. I'm gonna take maybe a 3-hour break, go for a hike, go outside, I'm gonna come back and do specific reading for one class, and then I'm gonna have dinner, lunch, snack, whatever time it is, and then, you know, I'm gonna spend maybe another 3 hours working on an upcoming assignment that I have. So just spread it out really, really generically. My big thing with my tips is when this is me personally, I don't know if it's you guys too, but when I try and bog myself down with specifics, I get overwhelmed and I no longer want to do it. So I'll be posting little examples of each of the kind of layouts that I'm talking about so you guys can get a general feel. But yeah, my main thing is keep it generic, keep it simple, and that way you don't get overwhelmed, you don't get frustrated with yourself, and you're able to keep that flow and keep on going. My next tip is one that you're probably going to hear from anybody, no matter whether it's online classes, whether it's work, whether it's in class, anything like that. It's that time management is crucial. And while I do agree with time management being crucial, I also don't think you should crucify yourself with time management. Like, again, planning out every single step of your day. If you're one of those people that can do that, more power to you. I most definitely am not. Like, I will plan out every step of my day the night before, and then the day of, I'll look at my agenda and be like, yeah, sis, you thought we're not doing that. So again, time management is really crucial, but I also believe that if you really want to get something done, you're going to figure out a way to do it. So don't crucify yourself for not getting your 15-step plan done for the day if that's what you had going on. Like, time management will come with practice. Start with simple to-do lists, generic skeletal layouts of your day, and then move on from there, and your time management will get better. That's something that you have to work on. You're not just going to get time management overnight. That's not how it works, especially if you're a closet procrastinator like I am. Time management is not going to come to you overnight, and that's okay. Just do little steps to be working and improving on that. My next tip is really fun. If possible, study outside. It's summertime, so you know, and this is one of the reasons I like online classes, because it gives me the freedom to kind of study wherever I want. Maybe not so much now because of COVID, but you know, if it's a nice day, study outside if you can handle like not getting distracted by certain things or whatever. So that way you don't feel like you are wasting your summertime by doing online classes or anything like that. Go outside, read your textbook outside, and if you can, listen to your online classes outside as well. My next tip is find the study environment that works best for you. I cannot stress this enough. I have heard time and time again, you should study in a test-like environment. That's great if you can handle studying in complete silence. I, however, cannot, because I will fall asleep. However, I've never fallen asleep during a test. Mind you, I understand the logic behind that. If you study in a test-like environment, then the idea is you'll have less anxiety when it comes to your test. That's great, but if you're studying in a test-like environment and falling asleep, then you're not really studying anymore. So that's why I say study in whatever environment best suits you, because the best way to lower your anxiety for a test is to know your material. So you need to study and retain your material. If you're like me and need a little bit of white noise, have something playing in the background. I usually have my TV going in the background on a channel that I know I don't like, so I'm not tempted to watch it, but I'm still hearing that noise. I also really like to study around my dogs because I can hear them playing and kind of monitor that, but again, have them in the background while I'm studying. I can't study in complete silence. Sometimes I'll study with music. Instrumental is really, really good. But yeah, study in whatever environment works best for you and whatever environment you're gonna thrive in. Next tip is, and this should really go without saying, but I feel like because it's online, sometimes people get a little complacent with it, and that is pay attention to your online lecture, especially if they're doing it live. Sometimes you can get away with doing a little bit more when your professor doesn't require like you to be on video as well. But pay attention to what's going on in your class. If you're somebody who has to multitask in order to retain information, listen to your lecture while folding clothes or whatever, that's fine. But whatever you're doing, make sure at least 90% of your attention is on your lecture. Otherwise, you're gonna be scrambling, you might miss important information, blah, blah, blah. You know why you should pay attention in class, so pay attention in class. That should be a given, but I don't know if it always is. So next tip, doesn't normally work for me, but I'm gonna give it to you guys anyways, because I'm gonna assume that you guys are not nearly as antisocial as I am, and that is form study groups. Now you're probably wondering, how in the hell do I do this with an online class? Well, most classes are provided through a form of like Blackboard or one of those online platforms that whatever institution you're part of will use. So you can form like study groups and discussions and stuff like that through that platform. If that helps you by having other people to kind of, and not only study groups, but also I call them like accountability groups. If that helps you to kind of push forward with your studies, then go ahead and do that. You can have a rotation where, you know, maybe you guys all have a study session on Saturday and you do like a FaceTime group or something like that, or you do like a study sprint where you guys all log on and say we're studying for an hour, and then you just check in on each other. Or even if you're not studying together, just having people to check in on you and make sure that you're keeping up with your work and stuff like that, just that can be helpful as well. So I say form some sort of like a study accountability group if that will help you. If you're more of an independent learner, then just fly solo, because that's usually how I do it, but I know not everybody is like that. So if forming a studying group will help you, go ahead and do that too. My next tip is probably one of the most important, and that is put effort into getting to know your professors. Again, it's hard because you've lost that face-to-face contact with your professors, especially due to COVID. You're not going to have any face-to-face contact with them, but send them emails and ask supplementary questions about whatever the lecture was on or whatever your reading was on, so they know that you're engaging with the material. And that way, down the line, if you ever need a reference letter or something to that effect, you know that you have those connections to go back and ask for that. Just because it's online doesn't mean you completely ignore the other people, especially your professor in your course. You still need to be making those connections and kind of networking, because later on, depending on what your field is, you may need to go back and ask for a reference from a professor or different colleagues and so on and so forth. So that's really, really important. And then my next tip kind of goes in with my previous one, and that's participate in discussion. So a lot of the times when you're doing your online classes live, they'll have like a kind of like a discussion area on the side where your professor might ask you questions and you can type the answer then in there, or log on with your audio and speak up and answer questions. Make sure you're participating, because if for whatever reason, you hand an assignment in late, or you need to push back an assignment, or you're not there for a test or something like that, chances are if you're participating and you're making an effort to get to know your professor and you're pretty active in your online class, they'll be more lenient towards you. But if you're somebody who's kind of like, I call them like a ghost student, when you have online classes, you get a lot of ghost students who you don't really see in the online discussions or anywhere, but then when test day comes, all of a sudden there's like 50 people logged on to take the test, but there was only like 10 people logged on to take the lecture. Those other 40 kids, those were ghost students. Don't be like that, because if you ever need assistance from your professor, they're going to be more likely to help you if you've been engaging the entire time, like the entire process through the course, opposed to right before the assignment is due and then you need help. And my last tip, my gosh, I have done a lot of talking in this video. My last tip is to go easy on yourself, okay? Yes, school is so, so, so important. I can't stress how important school is. But at the same time, this online class that you're taking does not define you. This online course that you're taking does not define you. Your entire degree does not define you. If you are going through God knows how many other things you have going on in your life and your online course suffers for some reason, that is okay. You can retake it. Like, you can start over. This is not the be all end all of your life, at least for the majority of the people. I don't know everybody's particular situation, but I'm going to assume that you're going to be okay. So be easy with yourself, be gentle with yourself, and just go through it the best way that you know how. Okay guys, so that was it for my 10 tips to help you with your online classes during the summertime. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you learned anything new, or if you enjoyed this video at all, please comment, like, and subscribe. Also leave in the comments down below any tips that you have that I may not have covered for online studying, because I'd love to see anything new as well that I can also implement right now. And also look out for my part 2 to this video, how you make notes for your online classes. And yeah, with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Bye.